Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my new or updated patrons, Sazali W, Don L, Les M, Joe D, and Kevin M. Thank you all for choosing to support the channel. So today we're going to rip through some of this news a little quicker than usual because we do have some exposing to do, not just for drama's sake, but because this narrative is very important to the future of Tesla, especially as it goes more mainstream. First up, we have to talk about Giga Berlin because it seems like nobody has any clue what's really going on. We won't spend a lot of time here because tomorrow there's supposed to be a press conference sharing the details and all of the information, and hopefully we'll get some final clarity on this final approval process for Giga Berlin. To show you the confusion, we have this article saying the final approval is to be granted on Friday. However, an environmental permit would not mean Tesla can start producing cars right away. They would still need an operating license. Tesla would still need to meet further requirements and provide evidence of this before it can actually start production. Here we have their Tagesspiegel saying Tesla is scheduled to receive final factory approval on Friday. And they said with the approval, the last decisive hurdle would then be cleared so Tesla can deliver the first vehicles of the Model Y in March. And then from Handelsblatt, we get Tesla receives final approval for the Grünheide plant, saying Brandenburg's prime minister wants to comment on the details of the approval decision at a press conference in Potsdam this Friday. Gary Black provided a translation of this article saying Tesla must first meet other requirements and provide evidence before the plant could be put into operation. Alex cites the very same article saying Giga Berlin permit is finalized, but Tesla has not received it yet, according to his source, and then he mentions the press conference to be held tomorrow. And then we have Tobias, who has also been following this very closely. He says a spokesperson of the environmental agency did not confirm the article. Approval has not yet been given. He then said the press conference tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Berlin time. All important people for the process will be there. Expected the permit will be issued tomorrow. And finally, Alex adds authorities have given conditional internal approval, but the official documents will be handed over to Tesla tomorrow, which is Friday. And so what I'm making of this is tomorrow we will most likely get this final approval, but then Tesla might still have a few weeks where they need to verify and prove some other things before they can actually start production. But Sawyer said this: Tesla has produced 1365 Model Ys at Berlin to date, and 33% of those will be scrapped, but 66% will likely go to employees and internal transportation. And remember those reports that said Tesla wanted to deliver the first 30 cars to customers at that March 22nd or 23rd event? Well, that's only 3 weeks away, and if all of the cars so far that have been produced in a trial fashion can't actually be handed over to customers, then they're going to need this approval sooner rather than later to actually have vehicles that they can give to customers 3 weeks from now. So let's just see what info we get tomorrow. Also out of Giga Berlin, the first Works Council at Tesla has been set. Remember, no, this is not a labor union. A total of 2,500 employees were eligible to vote in the first Works Council election. However, remember Tesla is hiring up to 12,000 people here, so in another 2 years they may have to hold another vote once more of the employees are actually hired and on site. And just to clarify, a Works Council is a body of labor representatives who are empowered to mediate on behalf of the workforce over working conditions. A Works Council does not qualify as a union, and it's not allowed to engage in collective bargaining according to German labor law. And to be clear, these works councils are very common in Germany, and Tesla already has experience working with them, as when Tesla acquired what we now know as Tesla Grohmann, the engineering automation company, they went through a similar situation. IG Metall tried to establish a union within the company. However, Tesla negotiated with the employees, offered some more incentives, and reportedly worked it out and just worked with the Works Council, once again avoiding a full-on union. And you'll see shortly why, at least in this case, it is beneficial and in Tesla's best interest to not have a union. First, the required safety score for the FSD beta in Canada may be 98 instead of 100. And great news here for Rivian, as they have decided to do the right thing after a ton of negative pushback from their customers. Mike shared this email with me this morning. I won't read through the whole thing, so go ahead and pause the screen if you want to read through it. This is the part you need to see. For anyone with a Rivian pre-order as of the March 1st pricing announcement, your original configured price will be honored. If you canceled your pre-order on or after March 1st and would like to reinstate it, we will restore your original configuration, pricing, and delivery timing. Our team will be sending an email in the next few days with more details. So great job by Rivian for listening to feedback, owning up to their mistakes, apologizing, doing the right thing, and hopefully they can all move forward on a positive note. If you remember that bill out of Oklahoma that we talked about, well, Sawyer reported that it was passed. However, this is actually only passed the group committee. It has yet to pass the full-on Senate, so it's not said and done just yet. This would essentially be the bill that would require Tesla to shut down its service centers in Oklahoma and would prohibit them from direct sales in the state. And just something to remember here, Tesla was considering opening its next Gigafactory in Oklahoma, but as we know, they instead chose Giga Austin. So are they in some way trying to get revenge on Tesla? I don't really know, but what I do know is what we pointed out last time, that Mike Dobrinsky was one of the sponsors of this bill, somebody who owns multiple legacy ICE dealerships in the state. Here we have news that the GigaFest in Austin is currently under review by the Travis County Fire Marshals. Why? Because Travis County requires any entity outside city limits to apply for a mass gathering permit, basically to control traffic and things along those lines. The Travis County Commissioner's Court could vote on the event as soon as next Tuesday, March 8th. And so hopefully all goes well and the event will stay on April 7th. And here we have it, in my opinion, one of the most impactful tweets from Elon in recent memory, because it has the potential to change a narrative, one of the most negative narratives surrounding Tesla for the foreseeable future. He says, "Our real challenge is Bay Area has negative unemployment, so if we don't treat and compensate our awesome people well, they have many other offers and will just leave. I'd like to hereby invite UAW to hold a union vote at their convenience. Tesla will do nothing to stop them." So first, we can be pretty sure that if it was up to Elon, he would not have a union for Tesla, not because of money and not because he's a bad person, but because Tesla wants to move fast and hire and fire at their discretion, not leaving it up to a union to decide to slow things down. And for Elon to be comfortable offering up something like this, in my opinion, he probably has a good idea of how an actual vote would play out. So to me, this expresses the confidence that Elon has that if the Fremont factory workers were actually put to a vote, they would not want to be represented by the UAW. And to help you understand the full picture here, so a few years ago, a few employees at Tesla in Fremont actually tried to form a union with the help of the UAW, and they came out with all of these negative headlines saying that Tesla was coercively interrogating them, basically threatening them to take away their stock options if they continued to try to form a union. Tesla came back and straight up said that all of these accusations had no merit and that the UAW and these workers were just doing this to generate headlines. And most of these accusations against Tesla were actually just from one of Tesla's confidentiality agreements that these people were complaining was too broad and it made them feel like they were giving up too many rights. Once again, in response to this, Tesla actually blasted the UAW, and here's what it said. Faced with declining membership and overwhelming loss at a Nissan plant earlier this month, corruption charges that were recently leveled against union leaders who misuse UAW funds, and failure to gain traction with our employees, it's no surprise the union is feeling pressured to continue its publicity campaign against Tesla. And at this point, I need to be clear, I am not anti-union. Look, you can't just say unions are good or bad. It's far more nuanced than that. There are a ton of different types of unions in different industries, so I'm not trying to pick a side here. I'm just telling you what happened, and in this specific case for Tesla, I do not think a union would be a good thing for anyone, for Tesla or the employees, because right now the employees are being compensated very well and there's plenty of data to back that up. And just to show you, I was able to find the 2022 benefits guide for Tesla employees, so I will link that down in the description below if you want to read it for yourself. But most of us already know by now that Tesla's health insurance is very competitive, if not better than most others. Tesla has minted many new millionaires from the stock options alone over the last few years. And Elon confirmed this sentiment, saying, by the way, Tesla factory worker compensation is the highest in the auto industry. And even more than that, you can't argue that the UAW hasn't been involved in very serious fraud. It's not even debatable. I mean, look at this. This was from the summer of last year. The second UAW president sentenced to over 2 years in prison in union corruption probe. Check this out. The immediate past president of the UAW was sentenced to prison for his part in a role with other leaders to steal as much as $1.5 million in union funds for lavish trips, golfing, alcohol, and other luxuries. So to all of those people out there that have bashed Tesla for not having a union and not being represented by the UAW, well, you're essentially arguing that those Tesla employees be represented by people like this who take those employees' money and use it for golf trips, food, and other luxuries. And when speaking of the UAW from this court case, a US attorney said it was a culture of corruption. So once again, I'm not using broad brushstrokes here to say all unions are corrupt, but in this very case, the UAW, as recent as last year, is clearly corrupt, and there are very valid reasons for Tesla not to want to be involved with the UAW or to expose its own workers to this corruption. And probably the worst part about this whole situation is that we all know that the main reason Biden is not saying and acknowledging Tesla is because they're not a union company. And when you understand the background of unions and Tesla and what's happened, it just becomes so utterly absurd. Biden doesn't care about Tesla employees. He's not doing this to protect Tesla employees. He's doing it to pander to the people that are giving him money. And here's yet another reason why Elon is probably confident with how this hypothetical vote would go. As I mentioned, the UAW has a history with workers at the Fremont factory. Have a watch.
This is Andre Damon with the World Socialist website. We are at UAW Local 2244, which represents the NUMMI plant in Fremont, California. This local was the scene of a YouTube video taken on January 24th showing a confrontation between the auto workers and the UAW leadership. This time, the UAW called the police on its own members to prevent them from videotaping the meeting.
She has a right to have a camera. She paid union dues just like the rest of us. And then there was a student in there, and she had a camera in her hand. They told her to leave. I told her to stay right there. She has a right to stay right there. If they didn't have nothing to hide, they wouldn't have told her to turn her camera off. I think she did the right thing.
We're here with Maria Gregg, who just had the UAW call the police on her. We had, I think, 2 cop cars show up with 5 officers because she was videotaping the meeting. I guess the UAW was pretty on edge after the last meeting and the YouTube video that got on there, right?
That's right, yeah. I was at the last meeting where Javier Contreras used foul language towards the membership, and I had that on a tape posted on YouTube. And it's pretty much gone viral right now. I kept the camera rolling, and I actually wanted the police to escort me out. I don't know what law I was breaking. They're not representing us properly.
We have definite conflict of interest and misrepresentation by the UAW. With the UAW owning 17.5% shares of General Motors, they've got no business representing us.
Yeah. So would you support a break with the UAW?
I hear it talking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Do you feel like it's gotten to a point now that it would be necessary to break with the UAW to defend the workers' rights?
I think it would be. There's going to be a time, I figure, within the next couple of years where the UAW, just like Toyota, they're taking a beating right now. The UAW will too, because you can only get away with so much for so long, and then afterwards, it's all going to come to a head.
So there you have it. You can see this UAW corruption goes back a decade from now, not just last year. So while it would be awesome for this vote to actually happen and for the employees to vote that they don't want to be represented by the UAW to finally put this discussion to bed, even if it doesn't happen, at least this move by Elon will signal to whoever's watching, hopefully the president, hopefully people like Robert Reich, who continually blast Elon, citing that Elon's been so anti-union. Well, now Elon is saying, hey, clearly I'm not. Let's leave it up to the people and see what they want. So honestly, guys, for me, enough was enough. There's just been so much misinformation and blatant lying and people championing certain headlines, not even knowing what they're arguing for, and all of these attacks that have come against Tesla because of this situation. Hopefully this paints a little bit more of an accurate, nuanced picture so we can understand what's really taken place and where we should be going moving forward. As you know, I always love to hear the other side of the debate, so if you disagree with me, please let me know below. I'll read through the comments and I would love to hear your thoughts. And given all of this, in my opinion, I do not think Tesla or its employees would be better served by being represented by the UAW. So generally speaking, Tesla has competitive pay. They have a great compensation package with stock options that, like I said, have minted many new millionaires, a great health insurance plan, and further than that, from a company level, the UAW would most likely just slow things down, and there's a reason Tesla is moving fast. It's not just to make billions of dollars, but it's to move the world towards sustainable energy. But I'll cut it off here for the day. Once again, let me know how you feel about all of this below. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.